Hi, readers, it's Lori. Welcome to Tag Tuesday. This is the mid-year book freakout tag. I think I did this last year. This is a fun one. I love watching it done by other YouTubers, and so I thought it was probably time to do it. It's a little past mid-year, but that's okay. My Tag Tuesdays are usually filmed early, but I'm filming it today on Tuesday. So there you go. I'm a little bit behind on filming and getting ahead, but I'm hoping that I'm going to be able to catch up in the next couple of days because I kind of have a light week, which is indicative of July sometimes. So let's get started, shall we? You don't care about all that. This original tag was created by Earl Grey Books and Read Like Wildfire, and I don't know a whole lot about either of those channels, but I'm going to take a look, and I encourage you to do that as well. I think one of them is no longer publishing videos, is what I heard from somebody who did the tag, so I will check it out and see. I think this tag has 14 questions. If I did this right, my writing that I did when I was jotting this down and trying to figure it out is horrid. So I don't know what happened with that. So let's start with the first one, which is the best book you've read so far this year. This one is tough. This is a tie for now. I'm not sure who's going to break the tie, but one of them is All the Colors of the Dark by Chris Whitaker. I've talked about that ad nauseum, so I won't say much about it again, except it was really incredible, and I will say something about it again. So just rest assured. And then this was my second favorite of the year so far, 11/22/63. Such a surprise to me. I thought I was going to like it, but I did not know that it was going to be so good. So that is that. Best sequel I've read so far this year, Kills Well with Others, which is the sequel to Killers of a Certain Age by Deanna Rayburn. I enjoyed this. I won't tell you a whole lot about it because I don't want to spoil anything from the first one, but essentially, I guess it doesn't really spoil a whole lot. But these are women who were trained assassins and now are retired, but things keep coming up that make them have to go out and do some things. So I enjoyed that one. That was a 4-star read for me, maybe 3.5, 4 stars as I remember. And then The Suspect by Fiona Barton, while only a 3-star for me, this was the third in the Kate Waters series, and I think that's probably the last in that series as I remember. I enjoyed it. It was good. It was well plotted. It was just, I'm not sure what would have made it better as I think about it, but I did another wrap-up video on it, so you could always go back and look at that. I read that in April, so it hasn't been that long ago. You would think I would remember, but I really don't. I just remember it was tricky. It was tricky. Okay, the third prompt is a new release you haven't read, but you really want to get to. And that is over here. That is The Names by Florence Knapp. I keep thinking about this. The ones I got this month from Book of the Month are also really books that I want to get to fast, but I wanted to share something different with you since I just talked about those in my book haul. So this is Cora, who has a daughter named Maya and a new baby, and I think her relationship with her husband maybe isn't fantastic, but he wants to name the baby something, a little boy, and she is very challenged by what to name the little boy. And so this book somehow takes us through 3 different iterations of this boy's life as a result of the names that she chose. I'm really wanting to get to that this year because it's just a fascinating plot to me. Coco is not doing well today. She'd been doing better when my partner left to go to work, but today my partner was home for the holiday weekend and had an extra day working at home, so Coco is not having a happy day. Yeah, tell them it's such a hard life. Okay, most anticipated release for the second half of the year, The Secret of Secrets by Dan Brown. Another Robert Langdon book. I'm so excited. I cannot tell you. I cannot wait. Am I caught up on the other Robert Langdon series books? No. Will I get to them before September 9th when it comes out? Probably not, but you never know. We can all dream. Biggest disappointment of the year is the next prompt, Murder by Cheesecake by Rachel Ekstrom Courage. I really wanted that book to be one of my best cozy reads of the year, and it just didn't land for me. I couldn't even finish it. I did give it a review. I got an advanced copy of it. It just did not work for me, and it makes me very, very sad, but it is what it is. The biggest surprise of the year, and this is also kind of a surprise, I didn't like it. The Ministry of Time. I could not finish this one either. I got over 50%, so I marked it as read, but goodness sakes, this was a disappointment to me because I really thought I was going to love this book. Time travel is my thing, and I just loved the premise of it, and I just could not do it. It just didn't move. It just didn't work. And I'm actually reading an arc right now that I'm having trouble with too. So I really have had more DNFs this year than I have in a long time. Favorite new author? I would say new author to me, it definitely was hard because there's a couple that I really enjoyed. But in this case, I'm going to say Chris Whitaker because this one really is, like I said, one of my top two. But I also read We Begin at the End and I really enjoyed it. Not as much as All the Colors, but I enjoyed it very, very much. And I do want to get to his backlist as well. I have heard that his books, like improved over time. I think he's an incredible writer and I like him as a human and I love his story about himself. He just did a live event the other day on Barnes and Noble's book author talks, and I encourage you to watch it if you can. The recording's still somewhere in the Barnes and Noble universe, but it was really good. So, book that made you cry, that one definitely made me cry, but I'm picking another one, and that is The Safe Keep by Yael van der Wooden, which is a book that she is a debut novel for this author. Incredibly done, getting a lot of buzz from book prizes and other people. I think it has, let me tell you what the rating is because it's really high, 4.09. This was a 5-star read for me. I definitely cried when I finished this one. I was actually reading it at lunch, and I remember very clearly that I started crying when I was finishing up, and then I had a client right after lunch, and I had to get myself together and touch up my makeup a little bit. But this one is it's a queer read. It's about a woman who's living in her mom's home. Her brothers are they're a little, she's a little hard to like sometimes, I will say that. And but one of her brothers, he comes to dinner to introduce his new girlfriend, and he asks if the girlfriend can live with her, and some things occur that over time that are just, it's a great plot, it's well written, it's sensitive to the time and place that it was set, but also to, relationships, to siblings, to grief. It's just, and to having a little bit of an obsessive compulsive behavior about things, which I know well. So I really, really loved that book, and I can't wait to see what she writes next. It's really hard, I would suspect, for an author to have a debut that gets that much buzz, and then you have to write another one, or maybe you don't, right? Maybe that's what you don't do. Newest fictional crush. That's interesting because I had to think about that. I didn't really have a lot of crushes. I mean, I guess I was pretty, you know, a fond of Patch, but I don't think I really had a crush on him. I chose Taverner from this series by Deanna Rayburn. Taverner is the only male, well, I mean, there are other males, but he's the only sort of somewhat central character. He's a side character, I would say, but I really, really enjoy him, and I'd like more of him than I've gotten in these first two books. So, Deanna Rayburn, if you're listening, that's my that's my ask. I'm sure you're going to take care of that. Newest favorite character is Jake Epping. Oh my gosh. All these pages of Jake, and I just never stopped liking him. To be honest, what's interesting about that is this was, I told you before, but 849 pages. I guess I won a gold star for this. I think I told you this before, but the series did not meet my expectations, and the way he was in the series did not work for me, but and the other changes that they made, but he really worked for me in this book. Like, he was a great, great guy, and I'm so grateful that I got to read this book this year because it really, really was one that I wanted to get to, and I'm so grateful that it was really, really good. A book that made me happy, and I think I got these out of order actually. A book that made me happy was The Reading List by Nisha Adams. It had some grief in it. It had some at times unlikable people, I guess, but they changed, they learned, they grew. But I really, really enjoyed the reading list. It surprised me that it was that good, to be quite honest. And I just, I'd had it for a while. I just wasn't expecting it to be incredible, and it was a five-star read from me. So I highly recommend that one. And that one's about a man who's lost his wife, and he ends up going to the library, and he meets a rather unhappy at the moment librarian or girl who works at the library, and he asks her for some recommendations, I think originally for his daughter, and then, but he also finds a reading list of books and they both actually discover this reading list, and they start to read these books down the list, and I really enjoyed that one. It also has a 4.07 collectively on Goodreads, so I can't be the only one who's really enjoyed it. All right, the next one is the most beautiful book I have purchased this year, and that's easy to say. That's The Nightingale by Kristen Hanna. This is the 10th anniversary edition, so it has sprayed edges. It has a little ribbon bookmark in it. It has the flavor of Paris on the end pages, and just gorgeous. And this was one of my favorite novels. I have never forgotten this one. This one made me cry, although I read it a long time ago. I don't know if I read it 10 years ago, but it was pretty much when it first came out, I think. So gorgeous, gorgeous, gorgeous. And for a long time, you could get this everywhere. Target, Barnes and Noble, Walmart, everybody had it. So I don't know if that's still true, but it's really, really good. All right, and the last prompt is books I need to read by the end of the year. Most of these are arcs. I have this arc that I've had since 2023, and it came out September 5th of that year. So I'd like to read this in August so that I could finish it before that date. But this is the third in the Matthew Venn series. Matthew Venn is a queer character. He's married to a man who works in a art gallery or something like that. But he has investigated now two other crimes, and this is the Two Rivers series number 3. These are set in England, and I really, really enjoyed them. So there's no reason why I haven't gotten to this. I just haven't. So that's one that I need to read before the end of the year to make myself feel better. The Mysterious Case of the Missing Crime Writer by Ragnar Jonassen. This comes out September 9th, and is this one a standalone? I think it is. But I have read several of his in series, and I love them. And these are Icelandic crime noir and set in the winter in Iceland. So it makes my heat wave experience currently a little bit nicer. So this one, it also has Helgi as one of the detectives, and he's trying to crack a case of a missing crime writer whose name is Ellen Jones' daughter. I can't say these words very well. My family's not from Iceland, but Helgi is going to try to crack the case before it's leaked to the press. And so he interviews a publisher, an accountant, a judge, and he realizes that Ellen's life wasn't what it seemed. Her past is even stranger than her stories. So that sounds wonderful to me. Thank you, NetGalley, for that arc. Then I also have The Lady on Esplanade, which is a book that's set in New Orleans. Esplanade is a very popular street in New Orleans. I've been on it a lot of my trips over there. This one is the third in a series that I know nothing about, but Karen White was also offering an arc of this, and I wanted to take a look. And this one is about Nola Trenholm's new life in New Orleans. Nola wants to focus on starting over in the Big Easy, which is kind of funny because people call New Orleans Nola for short, but nevertheless, she wants to get back to work on the renovations of her Creole cottage. She's eager to launch a new murder house flipping business with her contractor friend, Bo Ryan. Near-death ghostly encounter and the return of Bo's missing sister happens, and this is a fixer-upper, and it sounds good. It sounds cozy to me. So, we'll see if that's indeed the case, but it has some pretty good ratings right now, but not a lot of people have read it. But some people who have had an early arc have done. The one and only Vivian Stone is another arc. This is expected out in July 22nd. So that's the one I have to read fastest. Will I get to it this month though? Maybe not. Okay, Abby Jimenez talks about this one. They say it's a cross between the Seven Husbands of Evelyn Hugo and the mysterious Mrs. Maisel. Or the marvelous Mrs. Maisel. So that's what really kind of led me to decide I might want to get this. Estranged lovers reconnecting over mysterious tapes found in an attic and the old Hollywood secret hidden within them. So apparently her grandmother was a Hollywood famous person, and this girl goes in to take care of her estate and finds some things she didn't know occurred. That's always a good trope for me. Yeah. And then Frank and Red by Matt Coyne. I just talked about this in my book haul, but I'm really wanting to get to this. It feels like a summer read to me. I could be wrong. I love the premise of this curmudgeony old man, really young child who's looking for a friend in his new neighborhood. Just sounds like everything I want it to be. I would also like to get to Birding, which I got a little while ago by Rose Ruan. I don't know. Jenny Godfrey said this is achingly poignant. I've been looking at this all the time when I sit and do my journaling. It's like right there. And yes, please. This one came from Blackwell's, I think, but I think this is going to be really good. So, two women in the 90s. Lydia was a teen pop singer, edgy, sexy, girl in control, but her whole life was not necessarily the way that she was being perceived by other people. And then Joyce has never left her home. She's been living with her mom, suffocated, unhappy, just trapped, really. And so they both meet each other on a boardwalk. And what happens next is unknown to me. This was longlisted for the Women's Prize for Fiction this year, and this would be a good summer read. So that one would be sooner than later, I think. So, probably Frank and Red and this one or one or the other, very possible. And then I also want to read, I know, really? The Road to Tender Hearts by Annie Hartnett. These are books I haven't talked about as much, essentially, so I wanted to, there's some others that I want to read too, but this is a darkly comic and warm-hearted novel about an old man who goes on a cross-country mission to reunite with his high school crush, but he brings his adult daughter with him, or two other orphaned kids, and a cat who can predict death. So this is really something that I want to get to. I've heard a lot of people have read it and talked about it. It also has a 4.41 rating with over 5,000, almost 6,000 ratings so far. Confidently, I think I'm going to like that one. I'm probably going to order it, but I'm not yet certain because I'm trying not to haul a bunch of books this month. So we shall see. Okay, readers, thank you so much for watching today. I know this was a bit of a long one as well. Let me know what your answers would be to these prompts if you would like to do that. I'm not going to tag anybody specifically because it's summer and I know sometimes these tags are difficult for people to get done in summer, but I also know that a lot of you that I follow and would have tagged have already done it. So I think we're good. But if you want to do this tag and you're a YouTube creator or you want to do this tag in the comments below, feel free to do that. The more the merrier, right? Like we all want to know your answers to these questions. So thanks so much again for all of your support. So if you are not wanting to write anything in the comments, but you want to leave a little emoji to let me know that you were here, leave an ice cream cone in the comment below. I'm sure there's an ice cream cone emoji. Thanks again for all of your support. Happy summer, happy heat wave, and happy reading. Bye.